Today on our deep dive, we're looking into Buriram versus Port. I'm joined today by Toby and Jamie. Toby's a die-hard Port fan, and Jamie's the same for Buriram. So mixed feelings this morning. So first of all, chances for both sides last night in a very open game. Port scored on the 25th minute with one try scoring from a flick on from a corner. In the absence of Henry, I did some homework and there's a few tactical breakdowns. So Port really came in with a masterclass idea to congest the midfield, push Buriram down the wings, make it rather pragmatic, I thought, stop the usual attacking flow. This was really obvious where you can see that Buriram had 51 crosses throughout the game, but only 25% of them were accurately on target. And that really shows the strength of Port's defence. Port won 54% of their duels and 56% of the aerial duels. And despite dominating possession of 75%, Buriram were really wasteful with only 25 shots on goal and only 7% of those were on target. So that's, over-reliance on crosses and the lack of alternative options really paid dividends for Port in their tactic. So Toby, you must be happy. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, I'm still elated the day after. Yeah, mission accomplished. I think, as you said, we knew what the limitations were. We knew we were playing the best team in Thailand by a long distance. And the game plan worked. Like you said, we defended deep. We didn't try to play expansive football. But what I think we really should also focus on is that Coach Choke picked a very unexpected team. He left out Dumbuya, Piradol, Bodin, Pakon. We had Putros and Shimura on the bench, who are our regular starters. You could argue maybe he's looking at a cup run ahead. We have Chonburi this week and Konken if we advance to the next run. Or maybe he just got fed up with some of these underperforming players and decided to go with the ones who deserve a chance. I look at Nice Tanakan. Chaiwat was great again. And maybe he just said, right, you guys dig deep and leave it all out on the field. I also agree, Buriram, weren't up to their usual standards today. I don't know if Jamie will agree or disagree with me, but by the end of the match, they had their strongest attacking quartet on the field, and I'd say several other attacking players, and it just didn't click for them. So a great day at the office for Paul. You have to say, hats off to every hero on the pitch there. But also, I'm sure Buriram will feel like that's certainly a missed opportunity. Long term, I don't think it will matter. It's a procession to the championship for Buriram, but it's nice to show that they're human once in a while.
So Jamie, wasn't the best performance, but I thought, Buriram came into it in good form. What happened today?
It was frustrating to watch because it was one of those games where you say so much possession, but I think the stats about sort of the crosses and things. If you're in the stadium, you realise that every ball they played, every good or through ball was just to the wrong person. Every time they had an opportunity to go left, they went right. To right, they went left. In the stadium, you can see who was open and who was not, and they just couldn't pick the ball. Either the guys, everyone was making runs from the attacking line, and they just weren't finding them. Or if they were, it was going over their heads. I mean, the two centre-backs, dealt with them very well. Our Ghanaian guy, Martin Bouraki, he didn't get in the game at all. He's a big lump of a guy. Didn't get involved. Your guys handled him very well. I thought it was a good defensive effort. But honestly, I don't think you had to do that much. And I'm sure at the end I saw the goalkeeper got the man of the match. I'm sorry being interviewed, so whether that was true or not. Yeah, I thought he didn't actually stop many shots, to be honest. It wasn't like he was all over the place, left, right, knocking them over the bar. We were just firing them wide.
I think maybe a central defender would have been a better choice. I mean, I thought that the Buriram players looked sluggish, and they were taking way too long. Two strikers in particular were taking way too long on the ball. Every time they got the ball, rather than firing the shot off quick and fast, they were taking time and thoughts about it, which wasn't necessary really at that time.
No, the new guy, the Ghanaian guy, hasn't quite clicked yet. And if he plays with Superchai, which he did in the second half, they just do the same runs every match, go the same space every match. Bizzoli doesn't perform, you're not going to get goals. And he wasn't for 70 minutes. He just wasn't playing last night. And Lucas Crispin, who's the number 10 who makes everything happen, came on at 75 minutes, and no one knows why. There's a rumor that he's been back to Brazil about something, so we're not sure what's going on. and he looked a bit jet lagged. So it's one of those games. It didn't click. Everything just didn't fall into place, and it had to be Port, didn't it?
I think when you bring on Super Chai at half-time, which is a great substitution to have in your locker, but then playing as a number 8 and not as a true number 9 or 10, then you're not getting the full potential out of him.
Totally.
You saw that in the second half. He had that swivel shot which came off the post, and that was your best chance of the half. Lucas Crispin, I agree, he came on too late and was almost playing like an advance of 4, really.
He was,
I felt,
totally.
Yeah, and you can't just throw players on and say, right, get on with it. You have to play them in their best positions. Basoli, I agree with you. He seemed to be playing a little bit to the left, didn't enjoy that position. And also, you saw, like you said in the pitch, a lot of diagonal balls, really, going to your right winger and just not really the delivery you were looking for into the box for them.
There was an interesting part, Toby. When we got about 20 minutes to go, we took off, I'm trying to think who. Tabinas we took off, and someone else. We brought on 2 Thai players, Sasalak left back and Narabin right back. Yeah. And bringing on the 2 Thai players changed the whole thing, because it was almost like a team, they brought in a heart, which was like, yeah, we're from Buriram. This is our game, which you hadn't seen that urgency in the rest. And at that point, Tiraton started spraying the ball to players rather than to the guy in the stand. And it started clicking. With that happening and Crispin coming on so late, it was too late because the space had gone. You guys were playing 9 at the back and the space had all gone.
Exactly. Tabinas was having a bit of a frustrating afternoon. I got to say, you could see, the reaction to some passages of play, either not receiving the ball or just a low quality ball in the box. It was the right substitution to bring on Sasalak. But, once you get to 70, 75 minutes, Jamie, if you've got a 1-0 lead at Buriram, you're gonna start getting into the trenches and just clearing out balls. I was getting especially frustrated because Port were very wasteful when they would retrieve the ball in and around the box. They were overhitting passes, spraying it to the wrong person. Once or twice it would connect and there would be a move up, but it's part of the fun of football, digging in and watching this. But it wasn't a pleasant watch for me, I got to say, for those last 15 or 20 minutes.
Not until the final whistle.
And
no, of course.
Jamie, do you think it's just a bad day at the office or something more to be concerned about?
No, I think it's a bad day at the office. We will find out in the next 10 days. We've got an ASEAN Cup on Thursday night. Then we've got 2 Champions League against 2 Korean teams the next 10 days after that. That's when we'll know.
And Toby, you think Port can use this as a block to build on, something to move forward?
I hope so. We know what Port are like. They have a tendency to self-implode at random moments throughout the season. It's great coming on this podcast and talking about a win. But, our best opportunity as silverware is this week against Chonburi, as I've already stated, and we need that cup run. We need, last two seasons, we finished 3rd and we've been knocked out in the semi-final of a cup. And, the fans just want us to, want the team to go that step further. Can they do it? Arguably they can. They got good enough personnel if they can all, form a cohesive unit. But, I've been following Port for 7 years and I know not to have too high expectations with them because they tend to disappoint really over the long term.
And do you think the caretaker manager's talking himself into the job full time?
Give him the role for the rest of the season, at least. It was a complete debacle, what happened with Rangsan. I don't think there's any exciting Thai manager. It was Rangsan last year, and we got him, and it turned out to be nothing short of a disaster, really. So I would give it to Choke. He obviously has the team behind him, and I think, like I said earlier, I think he's with his team selection, he gave a few people a shock, and hopefully that shock will get the right response out of it.
Zico back, but what do I know?
Be careful.
So, looking at the table after that leaves Buriram 8 points clear, but they played 1 more game. So, BU, if they win the game, will only be 5 points behind. Is the title inevitable? Jamie, you're confident?
I'm never that confident. I'm just that's me, but. We've got 9 games to play, and Bangkok United have got to basically win. So, yes, it should be Buriram, to be honest. what must be frustrating, if you are Port or Buriram United, they both turned us over, both two fabulous matches, two full stadiums, been two lovely games to be at, for the atmosphere. But they just can't do it week in, week out, which must be so annoying if you're a fan.
Yeah, it is. But, there's other reasons to go and support a team than just wanting them to win everything, I guess. I mean, we've known this to be a problem for a while. We know there needs to be quite a drastic reset, really, if we want to be a title challenging team. But as I said on this podcast last week, we've only recently become a top half team. We were a yo-yo club. And, love her or hate her, if it wasn't for Pan coming in and spending money, we wouldn't be where we are now. The fact is, we're not as good as Buriram. We're not as good as Bangkok United. Therefore, we won't be challenging for the league. This is, we've kind of at where our limit is at the moment. So, it doesn't mean people stop supporting them. That's part of the fun, winning and losing. But firstly, there needs to be quite seismic change at the club in the medium to long term to see us really challenging the top two.
So, what would you say? Look, this season, I believe, is signed and sealed almost. We're going to walk away with Buriram.
Yeah.
Who would you see could be a challenger in the future? If Port aren't there, Bangkok United and BG in the future?
That's a good question. Well, I think that BG have the potential. They got the stadium, the setup. They've got the players, but they've always fallen a bit short. I mean, they drew 1-1 this weekend, I believe, and a match which they should have put to bed. Simon, could you confirm that? It was 1-1.
Well, it was 1-1, yeah.
Yeah, 1-1. And apart from the title winning season, they've always kind of disappointed. As well, you can look at. I watched the second half of Sukhothai Muangthong. I mean, obviously, I have my own opinions of Muangthong, but I got to say in the second half they game managed well, and they were they were gifted the third goal by the Sukhothai keeper, but they were playing some pretty good football in and around that. So
it's a tough win. Sukhothai haven't lost their home since August.
Yeah, Sukhothai have been great recently. Yeah, they beat us.
That John Baggio goal was goal of the season. That's unbelievable.
Put that in his locker. He's a great little player. He's one of the stars of the league. I would say. But who's going to challenge? I wouldn't know. I think that Buriram and I think the setup that Nguyen has is the best in Thailand, and it's a cut above everyone else. And that's just the fact. Bangkok United are getting there, but I don't think they have the quality to well, they certainly won't have the quality, I don't think, to win the league this year. I think next year we'll probably be looking at those same two teams, really, and maybe a surprise package. But I wouldn't want to speculate who that surprise package is.
I'm not even sure they have the desire, to be fair. I mean, Jamie, you think there's a problem with it being a monopoly as a league? If we carry on the same vein with Buriram winning, obviously for yourself, you'll be happy, but is it, we reach a point where the league is weaker because of it?
I've always said every time I'm in that you couldn't say to Usain Bolt, would you mind running slower so we can all catch up? I've always said, there's a level you set, and it's up to everyone else to try and get up to that level. And if Buriram are ahead at the moment, it won't be like that forever. There will be change to the club. Nevin will step down. His son will take over in the next couple of years. How that works, I don't know. They have a bad season. Maybe they won't attract the players. The thing is with them, they've got a network. They've got agents, a couple of agents in Eastern Europe. They got Diogo Luis Santo, who's now their agent in South America, who can pick the talent he wants. He's from Santos as a player. He's mates with Neymar. He can bring Neymar over for 6 months. Well, what would that be like?
That would be quite remarkable. Yes.
We were joking about it. So I was going to say, well, if he is mates with Neymar, Neymar's gone back to Santos. Maybe come for 6 months just on a free loan to pay Buriram. Imagine what happens to crowds then.
Get his match fitness up. Let's hope he could concentrate on the field and not on the nightlife.
It would be good for the league.
Jamie's right though. These kind of networks, really do pay dividends for Buriram. Our scouting network at Port is nowhere near good enough. We've brought in Piniel Malapa, who got a few nice touches and knockdowns yesterday, but it's clearly, because we bought him from the K-League, which is currently not. They're in pre-season. He's nowhere near match fit. So, contrast that with the foreign attacking talent on the pitch for Buriram yesterday, and there was a stark difference. That's not to say that Malapa won't improve over the next few weeks. I hope he does. He seems to have a good shot on him, and he's certainly, he's a wardrobe on legs. So you can use that to your benefit. But until Thai teams set themselves up as good as European or South American teams when it comes to facility, stadium, network, backroom management as well, there's always going to be it's okay doing things the Thai way, the standard way, but there is a better way when it comes to being a football club. I hope that Port, through being part of AFC2 and from being established as a top half team in recent years, that we can make that change. But at the moment, I'm not too hopeful because, as we know, change in Thailand takes time, if it happens at all.
Can I ask Toby a question? Something
Sure.
I talked about. If Port have showed this plan last week to build a new complex, including casino, including stadium and stuff, if they either build that and it's 15,000, 20,000, or they move to somewhere a few kilometers away, is that going to lose the Portness of Port?
That was my next question.
Okay. Yeah. Well, firstly, it's just a plan. The quote is that Madam Pang has seen plans. Now, I could draw a picture of a stadium and write Port FC next to it and say, I've seen a plan as well. I've seen previous Port, like Krong Toi area regeneration plans, and in some of those plans, they do draw a stadium in it. I've heard the new site is at the Chao Phraya. We have no information about size. We've heard that it would be like a multi-event venue, so you can have concerts there. So that doesn't sound small scale. So there's an issue, because part of the magic of Pat Stadium is, it's low capacity, but we pack it in. There's no running track, and it's a very kind of aggressive atmosphere for games there. Will we lose the portiness of Port? Yes, of course we will. The change is inevitable, and if that stadium is built, then we will lose, our current home.
On the opposite side, the added match revenue you can gain from that is like game changing. If you can fill a stadium of 20,000, 30,000 weekly in a metropolis like Bangkok, then you're bringing in huge revenue which can be used to bolster the team. So I suppose it's a Tottenham Hotspur's comparison, something like that, where you have both of you guys love. You have a new stadium which can bring in big money, and it's weighing that up. The 50-50. What do you lose? What do you get?
Yeah, but you don't lose the team. That's the thing. I can't think of many football teams who have moved stadium and been disappointed or wish they could go back to the old days. I could think maybe West Ham took a while when they moved into the London Stadium, because it was designed for the Olympics. That I know the fans were unhappy, but ultimately the fans have no choice. Whoever owns the club is going to drag them forward, and yes, the revenues will certainly be better. I don't think there'll be as seismic maybe as you kind of paint it, Simon, but will that money be reinvested properly? I couldn't answer that question. I don't know about how ticket sales are done in Buriram. Obviously, I'm not plugged into the club like Jamie is, but there seems to, shirt sales especially. I mean, Buriram lead that game as well. So, I would expect, money to be reinvested into the team. It's not as if Pang is looking down the back of her sofa for like 20 baht. She's got the money if she wanted to do it. I think the issue at the moment is obviously the stadium is Port Authority's possession. It's land owned by Port Authority and not by Pang. So there's still a lot more of this story to happen even before we know that it is actually going to be built.
There's something, Toby, just about the sales. Normally on about 75 minutes in the stadium at Buriram, they put a big note up saying how many fans in the stadium. It was like 31,300, whatever it was last night, nearly full, wonderful. But they also have a revenue, and last night the revenue was over 9 million baht, including sales of things in the stadium, sales outside the stadium, and shirts. Over 9 million baht one match day. So it does make a difference.
Jamie,
Jamie, can I ask you something? Because from the TV, I had a question. The camera zeroed in. I started taking shots of the stands around 20 minutes in, because loads of fans were coming in then. Like, you know, not like one or two, but whole lines of people. And I just wondered, like, you know, Buriram, by the end, it was packed. But why is there this, like, slow arrival of fans to the stadium?
One is just, we're in Istanbul, right? It's island time. It's 6 o'clock in the evening, so most people work 7 days a week. But last night, the stand behind the camera where the teams sit is the more expensive, the more exclusive part of the ground. It's the emptiest one, so you don't see it. The one you see on the screen is the one they fill up first, with the dancing and singing boys and girls. That fills up first. The one then, as you're looking that way to the right, is the next one to fill up. Now, as the game started, the one on the left hadn't even been opened yet.
Okay.
So what had happened is all the fans were trying to get into the north stand, and then at some point they opened the other end, and everyone basically had to go around the stadium and come in the other end. And we were sitting there watching this going, that's an incredible stream of people. That filled up in about 10 minutes. It was incredible to watch. Yeah.
But you really did this. I mean, the atmosphere was great for the second half, but you know, I was kind of scratching my head at that one, because you're right. It was a huge amount of fans that moved into the stadium around there.
It was a very special evening. I mean, yeah, to be fair, Toby, your fans made it a special evening, because the ones who made, was it 300 or 400 who made it, were noisy. They were like real football fans. They were fabulous on the evening, so good for them.
Yeah, we could hear, I mean, by the 88th minute, we could hear Port chants over Buriram chants. I think you guys just kind of decided to give up on in the chanting.
Den and I have always talked about is, I sit, where you see the dancing troupe in the middle, I sit one seat outside that. So whenever someone talks about the away fans were loud, I can't hear it, because I've got 12 drummers in my ear. So although it looked good, you could see it, I still can't hear it.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time, guys. And this is what he had to say. Thank you.